Have you ever considered the struggles a black man faces every day in this world? It's an unsettling question, isn't it? But it's one we must grapple with if we are to understand the realities that are often swept under the rug. Every day, black men navigate through a maze of preconceived notions, stereotypes, and systemic hurdles that can be as invisible as they are insidious. It's a far cry from the ideal of equality we often tout. You see, this isn't about playing a victim card. It's about acknowledging the existence of a problem that affects millions of lives, a problem that's so deeply ingrained it's almost invisible. And it's our collective responsibility to understand it, to know it, and ultimately to address it. Today we're going to shine a light on this issue, peel back the layers and reveal the truth hidden beneath. Let's delve into the facts and figures that unmask the harsh reality. Numbers, they say, don't lie. Let's see what they have to say. Consider education. Black boys are 3 times more likely to be suspended than their white counterparts, starting as early as preschool. That's right, preschool. When it comes to obtaining higher education, black men are less likely to graduate from college compared to their white peers. This isn't a reflection of ability, mind you, but rather a damning indictment of a system that is stacked against them from the get-go. Now let's talk about employment. Black men are consistently paid less than white men, even when they have the same level of education and are doing the same job. In fact, the wage gap between black and white men has remained stubbornly wide for decades. What is more, black men are twice as likely to be unemployed than white men. This isn't due to a lack of effort or ambition, but rather a system that seems to be designed to keep them at the bottom. Let's not forget about the criminal justice system. Black men are far more likely to be stopped by the police, arrested, and incarcerated than white men. They make up roughly 13% of the US population, yet they account for nearly 40% of the prison population. It's a grim reality that a black man in the US is 5 times more likely to go to prison in his lifetime than a white man. We must also address the tragic fact that black men are far more likely to die at the hands of law enforcement than white men. This is not a matter of a few isolated incidents, but rather a systemic issue that continues to plague our society. These are not just numbers. They represent real people, real lives. And each statistic is a stark reminder of the systemic racism that persists, of the disparity that is woven deeply into the fabric of our society. Let these numbers serve not as mere data points, but as a call to action. For these are not just figures on a page, but the harsh reality faced by black men every single day. Let's not stop at numbers, let's hear some stories. Consider this. A gifted young man named Terrence who, despite being top of his class and having a passion for molecular biology, was overlooked for the scholarship he applied for at a prestigious university. The scholarship went to a less qualified candidate, the only difference being the color of their skin. Then there's Jamal, an ambitious entrepreneur who poured his heart and soul into his tech startup. Every bank he approached turned him down for a business loan, despite his solid business plan and proven track record. It was only when Jamal brought a white colleague to the meetings that the funds miraculously became available. Or what about Marcus, a loving father and husband, who was pulled over by the police while driving home from work? The reason? He fit the description of a suspect. Despite his pleas of innocence, Marcus spent a night in jail. His young daughter left wondering why her daddy didn't come home. And let's not forget about Elijah, a talented artist who, despite numerous rave reviews and a dedicated fan base, still struggles to find a gallery willing to exhibit his work. When asked why, the gallery owners claimed his work was too political, too confrontational. In reality, Elijah's art was simply too black for their taste. These stories may seem disparate, but they share a common thread: the systemic discrimination faced by black men in different areas of life. From education to employment, from entrepreneurship to law enforcement, these men and countless others like them face an uphill battle every day. A battle that is fought not on a level playing field, but on one that's been tilted against them from the start. These stories aren't isolated incidents. They aren't the result of a few bad apples. They are the reality for millions of black men across the globe. A reality that is shaped by deep-seated prejudice, unconscious bias, and institutionalized racism. These stories are not exceptions. They are part of a larger systemic problem. The impact of these struggles is not just physical or financial, it's mental too. Let's delve into the psychological effects of discrimination and systemic racism on black men, as backed by extensive research and expert opinions. It's a grim reality that the mental health consequences of these hardships are often overlooked, yet they are just as damaging and pervasive. Consider this. Living in a society where you are constantly judged, stereotyped, and discriminated against based on your skin color creates a state of chronic stress. This stress, akin to a relentless shadow, follows you everywhere, from the workplace to the grocery store, from social gatherings to quiet moments of solitude. It's like a ceaseless whisper, reminding you of your difference, your perceived inferiority. This chronic stress, according to psychologists, can lead to a plethora of mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. A study published in the American Journal of Public Health reveals that black men are 20% more likely to report serious psychological distress than their white counterparts. This isn't a coincidence. It is a direct result of the systemic racism and discrimination they face every day. Moreover, the societal pressure to conform to the stereotype of the strong black man further exacerbates these mental health issues. This stereotype encourages emotional suppression, which can lead to increased psychological distress and a reduced likelihood of seeking help. Finally, let's talk about the tragic irony of this situation. Many black men, already suffering from the mental health issues we've discussed, face additional barriers when seeking professional help. These barriers may include lack of access to quality mental health care, cultural stigma associated with mental illnesses, and the fear of further discrimination. Mental health is health, and these struggles are making black men sick. It's high time we acknowledge this truth and work towards creating a society where everyone, regardless of their skin color, can live without the burden of systemic prejudice and discrimination. Knowing this, can we stand by and do nothing? The answer, my friends, is a resounding no. The time for passive observation has long since passed. It's high time we rolled up our sleeves and got our hands dirty in the fight against racism. In the face of such injustice, inaction is not an option. Every one of us has a role to play, a part to perform in this grand play of life. And right now, that role involves taking a stand, being a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of hope amidst the darkness of prejudice. Supporting black-owned businesses is a practical way to contribute to the cause. It's not just about economic empowerment. It's about recognition and respect. It's about acknowledging the creativity, innovation, and hard work of black entrepreneurs. It's about saying yes to equality and no to discrimination. But it doesn't stop there. Advocacy for policy changes is a must. It's about challenging the status quo, about questioning those in power, about demanding change where change is overdue. It's about making sure that the laws of the land reflect the principles of justice, equality, and fairness. Education, however, is the key that unlocks the door to understanding. Educating ourselves and others about racism, its roots, its impacts, its insidious nature, is paramount. Ignorance is not bliss in this case. It's a dangerous accomplice to racism. Knowledge, on the other hand, is power. Power to understand, power to empathize, power to change. It's not an easy journey, my friends. It's a path laden with obstacles, fraught with challenges, but it's a journey worth taking. For every step we take towards eradicating racism is a step towards a more inclusive, more just, more humane world. So let us not be idle spectators in the face of injustice. Let us be the catalysts of change. Let us be the voice of reason in a world often clouded by prejudice and bias. Stand up against racism because Black lives matter today and every day.